I do have the signed agreement in the file, so we don't need the hard copy. That's for you to keep. We do have, in this case, a 6-month deferred judgment. You may have heard me go over that with the last gentleman. He has 9-month term, but a very similar circumstances with the deferred judgment, Mr. Leep. It means that you'd be pleading guilty to the 2 charges that are pending for you, having a fraudulent identification and possessing alcohol by a minor. If you plead guilty to those 2 charges, your case will stay open for the 6-month period. You'll be expected to go through that period without any other criminal charges of a similar nature. You also have to complete the CU Restorative Justice Program, the CU Community Living class, and then you'll do a substance use screen with our probation officer and comply with whatever class that she orders for you to complete. There'll be $155 in fees and costs associated with the deferred judgment. At the end of the term, if you've complied with the conditions, we're going to withdraw those 2 guilty pleas automatically. We'll dismiss the case and seal your record. Does that all make sense to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're under the age of 18 still, is that correct?
Mr. Leep is over 18.
Just this week, is that correct? Are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm over 18.
Okay, I wasn't sure that. I thought I'd seen JV next to the file, but all right, that's fine. I just, if you were under 18, I need a parent to approve the agreement, but it looks like we're in good shape on that. Okay.
Leep's parents are
Yeah, and I thought that might be them, so thank you for that, counsel. All right, so I have the signed agreement. Any questions for me, Mr. Leep?
No, Your Honor.
Any further advisement that you might require on this, counsel?
I don't require anything.
Okay, let me go ahead and ask you the basic questions that I have to ask everybody before I accept the guilty plea. First of all, when you plead guilty, you're giving up your right to trial and all of those other rights that I just described to the group. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand these charges? The first charge being having a fraudulent identification?
Yes, Your Honor.
And counsel, would you waive a factual basis for that?
We would waive.
All right, do you understand the charge of possessing alcohol by someone under the age of 21?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, would you waive a factual basis for that charge?
We would, Your Honor.
Let me go ahead and accept the pleas, then I will find that they're freely and voluntarily given. A violation of section 5612 is called having a fraudulent identification that allegedly occurred August 19th of 2025 at 2115 Baker Drive. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Accept that guilty plea. Count 2 is a charge of possessing alcohol and being under the age of 21, which is a violation of section 574 of the Boulder Revised Code from that same date, time, and location. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Accepted those 2 guilty pleas. We'll place you on the deferred judgment for the 6-month term. Going to have you meet with probation here in just a few moments. You'll have the CU Restorative Justice Program to complete the community living class, and then the whatever class that's probation requires that you complete in connection with the deferred judgment. Do you have any questions for me, either you or counsel?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, then the next step in this process, Mr. Leep, is for me to send you back to meet with probation. They'll be your contact person to get you all the information you need. And if questions arise during the period, you can contact them. All right. And it's just 2 rights and a left to the end of the hallway, counsel. So if you'll just walk Mr. Leep back there, that would be terrific.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Can payment be made on the court costs with probation or the window?
Probation will probably direct him up front to pay those fees, but yes, it'll all be taken care of today.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So Nick, just let me know when you're ready for that. And in the meantime, I'm going to start calling cases that haven't yet come forward. We'll start with Ashley Bailey. Miss Bailey, and if you can just, actually, why don't you just come a little bit further forward so you're not having to deal with people walking. Right there is fine if you're comfortable right there. We're doing a lot at once, but I'm trying to move people forward if I can. Miss Bailey, there are a couple of charges pending for you. There's a charge of failing to have a rabies vaccination as required by the ordinance, and a charge of having a dog at large. A couple of different options available to you. If you'd like to speak with the prosecutor, as I mentioned a few moments ago, that's an option available to you. If you have proof that you've had the rabies vaccination, if you've got that proof with you, that's something that you could share with the prosecutor, and then they can consider dismissing that charge. And you could then talk about the dogs at large charge. That's an option for you as well. You also have the right to plead not guilty to those charges and set the case over for trial. What would you like to do?
I have his new rabies.
Okay, that may be worthwhile to share with the prosecutor, because then she might be able to dismiss the charge and save you the fine on that.
Okay. He didn't have his rabies then, so
That's okay. Sometimes they consider the actions that people have taken after getting the ticket as a way of a courtesy to people, they will sometimes dismiss that charge, especially if you're deciding to plead guilty to the other one. So if you want to wait and speak with the prosecutor, the other option for you is if you decide to plead guilty to the dog at large charge, I'd be imposing a fine on that. Since you have the rabies vaccination proof, even if you pled guilty to that, I would suspend that fine. So you wouldn't be paying a fine on that either way. So if you want to not wait and speak with her and you simply want to plead guilty to the dog at large, you could do that. But I want to make sure you understood you had the option of speaking with her.
Would I have to come back?
Nope, it will all happen right now.
Okay, guilty.
You want to do that now? Okay, so let me just go ahead and accept the guilty plea to both charges. We'll start with the charge of having a dog at large, which is prohibited by section 6116 of the Boulder Revised Code. That occurred August 18th of 2025 at the 3200 block of 34th Street, which I believe is Howard Houston Park. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
Accept that guilty plea. Count two is a charge of failing to have a rabies vaccination for your dog on that date, time, and location. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
I'd have accepted those two guilty pleas. You told me that you have the current rabies vaccination. Would you mind coming forward and just showing me that? Thank you. You can stay right here. I'll give this right back to you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, I'll give that back to you.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd like to share with me about this incident? Okay. So on that first count, which is the rabies vaccination charge, I'm going to suspend a $60 fine. So you won't have anything to pay on that. And then on count two, which is the dog at large charge, it'll be a $60 fine. And then there are $30 in court costs. You'll have $90 to pay total today. Nick, we're not going to keep the file open. I'm suspending the fine, but we're closing the case upon payment. Are you able to pay the $90 today? All right, Miss Bailey, then I'm going to send you right out front. Our clerk will collect the $90 from you and get you on your way.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a good day. And I think I heard that you've got the interpreter on the line. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's recall the Maith Bertado case. Miss Bertado, if you and your mom can come all the way up to the judge's area here, please. And I believe we have an interpreter on the line. Good morning to our interpreter. This is Judge Cahn from the Municipal Court. Could you introduce yourself, sir? We'll call the Abel Rojas case. And whenever you're ready, Ms. Keller.
Thank you, Your Honor. There were two charges here. One charge of a display of merchandise in the right-of-way without a permit, and one charge of missing a sales and use tax license. Mr. Rojas has presented me with evidence that his business is now in full compliance. Not only does he have the necessary permit, but he is also back in good standing with the sales and use tax license. Therefore, the city is going to move to dismiss this citation today. And we'll follow up with a written motion as well.
Okay, thank you for that. So, Mr. Rojas, you are now free to leave. Thank you for appearing today. If you'll make sure that we have a good email address for you, do we have that already? Terrific. We're going to send you a copy of the order dismissing the case by email so that you'll have that. All right, thank you for appearing. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Robles, there's two charges for you. They're both having a dog at large in violation of section 6116 of the Boulder Revised Code. Couple of different ways for you to proceed. If you wanted to, you could plead not guilty and set those two charges for trial. You could also talk to the prosecutor about the charges and see if you could get them dismissed. If you chose to plead guilty, you could plead guilty and then I'd be imposing a fine in the case.
Plead guilty.
All right, let me go ahead and accept the guilty pleas. There are two counts, both of having a dog at large in violation of section 6116 of the Boulder Revised Code, allegedly occurring September 16th of 2025. At 2105 Floral Drive. How do you plead to those two charges, sir?
Guilty, sir.
All right, I've accepted those guilty pleas, Mr. Robles. I'm going to pull up the back of the report so I can at least read what the officer's notes say. But is there anything that you would like to share with me about the circumstance?
Not just an unfortunate situation.
And I also will just take a quick look at if I have any history, that's important for me to know. I may have missed a charge. Is there a failure to...
There's a wildlife charge.
Oh, I just didn't see it over there. I'm sorry. There's one other charge, which is a charge of failing to protect wildlife, which is a violation of section 635 of the Boulder Revised Code, also allegedly occurring that same date, September 16th of 2025 at 2105 Floral Drive. How did you want to proceed with that charge?
Guilty, Your Honor.
I'll accept that guilty plea. So now I've accepted all three guilty pleas. Let's see, take a look. So a dog at large charged back in 2011, that's a long time ago. And then 2018, also a fairly long time ago as well. And then the most recent was an animal on the mall charge for 2020. So a little bit of a concern for me, somewhat of a pattern, although it's not every week or month or even every year, but some slight
Your Honor, is
pattern.
it animal on the mall?
Yeah, back in 2020,
No.
let me just take a
Sure,
look.
not me.
Are you sure? Because I've got a citation. Let me just tell you what the citation issue was. It says Mark Robles, issued to defendant, has an address the same as this one, a 2115 Floral Drive address.
Huh.
Trying to see if there's any notes on this summons. Oh, interesting. This is probably why it was confusing for you. The officer wrote the charge as animal on the mall, but the report says this occurred at Columbine Elementary.
Okay.
So he may have, or she may have written the charge wrong, and then they meant to make it dog at large,
That makes
and
sense.
they marked the wrong box. Okay, so that's the history of that one. So
Okay.
perhaps that's why you were confused. I would be confused too as an animal on the mall, and you might know that you didn't do that. Okay, so like I said, somewhat of a history, not quite as aggravated as it could be, but anything else that you'd like to share before I impose the fine on this?
No, Your Honor.
All right, on count 1 and 2, there, it really is two dogs, so I'm gonna, on count 1, it's going to be, I am required to impose a $60 fine, that's our minimum for that, but it has been more than 2 years, so I don't have to escalate the fine. On count 2, it'll also be a $60 fine, and count 3 will be a $60 fine, so it's a total of $180 in fines and costs, and then you'll have $30 in court costs, so it's a total of $210. Are you able to pay that today, sir?
Absolutely, sir.
All right, I'm going to send you right out front then. Our clerk will collect the payment and get you on your way.
Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right, thank you. Have a good day.